So, a lot of you might recognize displays like these where we keep class pictures. And we'll go through these more in depth a little later. But what's really interesting about Grand Meadow is here is our first class. There are 3 graduating students. Here you have Ellen Law, Irma Hiller, and Isla Williams. And they are the class of 1915. Now, by the time that Grand Meadow closed, very interesting fact, all the way at the end here is our final graduating class, the class of 1961, also with 3 students, Ronnie Cohn, Gail Klingensmith, and Ronnie Sadler. If any of you know these people and I am saying their names incorrectly, I apologize in advance. Again, we'll do a more in-depth showing you of these pictures at a later time. This is just sort of an overview walkthrough. One of my favorite things to look at here at Grand Meadow are some of these old maps, because it's always interesting to see how they have changed. This looks like a map of various Native American territories. I love how we can keep track of how place names have changed, how boundaries have changed. This is starting to look a little familiar.
Iowa's officially on here with borders now.
Yep. Oh, and here we go. As it appears today. Is there a date on this map? Let's see. It's from the University of Chicago. But I'm not seeing a date right offhand. Super cool. Again, one of my favorite things as a historian to study are maps. Here's a portrait that everyone has probably seen at least once. America's first president, General George Washington. Here's an ancient artifact. Nowadays people use whiteboards. This is a chalkboard. One of our really interesting collections here, or our display pieces, is the forestry collection. Some of our local plant life. As you can tell, the building not having climate control does do a little bit of a hard job on some of this stuff, but we are working on correcting that. Here are some seeds. Okay, one of my favorite parts of this room, anybody that knows me knows how I feel about old books. Some of these titles are familiar. All Quiet on the Western Front, classic literature. Highly recommend you read it if you haven't. German books. Now, what we'll do is give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek here. Some people don't know that you are welcome to study these books when you come to our festivals, where we keep track of all sorts of interesting goings on. Again, maybe you'll find a picture of a grandparent or a parent, or maybe yourself as a kid if you ever came to these festivals. Like Bethany. She didn't want me to show her face.
Flies.
Oh, yep, see, look at that. That's, just ignore that. Some of these things we still do at our festivals today, like the threshing and the spinning. Bethany and her family actually set up a sorghum press last year, which was super fun to watch. Here's an article about when we used to do a play during our festival, which is something that we're considering bringing back for your entertainment. I wish that some of these had dates on them, because that would be kind of neat.
Well,
This one is
1990.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, look at here. Squeezing cane juices and cooking it for sorghum. Poor Joe. That's what that one says. Oh, sheep shearing. That would be fun to do again.
We do that.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do that. I always just I never get to see it because I'm doing other stuff. So again, ignore me. We do that. This is why Joel's important, because Joel knows stuff. I mean, we all know stuff, but yeah. Holy cow, guys! Maybe you and your kids have been reading this series since you're stuck at home. The Boxcar Children. This edition. Wow. Oh, hey, look, it's from the Cherokee Public Library. This edition is from 1950. Still looking pretty good. Here's a picture of some of our Cherokee County settlers. Oh, this is another agricultural display about wool. Again, please excuse our mess.
A lot of 4-H kids should know the different grades of wool.
Oh yeah, your 4-H'er probably would really appreciate this display. Normally it's a bit cleaned up, like I said. It's something that we do in the off season. But with COVID-19, our schedule has been thrown a little sideways. And since it's just now starting to get nice enough that we can come out here, now, you guys might see me opening and closing displays. You might not, because it's been cold in here. But we would ask you when you come to our festival, oh hey, there's my reflection, to leave our displays shut for their protection and yours. Because as you can see, it's been cold and our wood has gotten a little stuck, and I wouldn't want you to injure yourself or break something. Thank you, ma'am. Some of these are so pretty. And of course, gravity isn't always our friend. I'll have to adjust that later. Grand Meadow Garden Club. Again, these are all items that we will be scanning and making available online. You'll notice that I'm not touching any of the older things with my bare hands because it's really just not good for them. Which is another reason why we would ask that you leave our displays closed and only handle the displays that are very obvious for you to touch. Ouch. Scrapbooks and photo books all over. Let's take a walk around Old Fort Cherokee. So Fort Cherokee was a part of the Northern Border Brigade's line of defense to stop raids by Native American tribes that might be hostile to settlers. So it was built during the winter and spring of 1862 to 1863. And apparently it was such an imposing structure that they never really had any problems with hostile native tribes. Something interesting, I fully admit, not something I've studied extensively. But if it's something that you're interested in learning about, I'm happy to go through our Grand Meadow resources and share more about it with you. Here's a model of Fort Correctionville. Which I believe was built in 1862. Again, interesting local history that maybe you might not know much about. I know I don't, but I would love to learn more about it with you. I always found that putting together display models like this to be very helpful, especially when you're trying to get children interested. Some of these are familiar toys to them. Tractors and cars and helicopters, toy animals. It helps to make the ideas more accessible, more entertaining. Maybe it's a project that you guys could do at home. Definitely not necessarily on such a big scale, but still a fun way to pass the time.